So this next video is going to be about how to draw an open mouth. If you're smiling, if you want to show teeth, if you've got some sort of an expression that has an open mouth versus a closed mouth. Now this one starts a little differently, so I've outlined the lines of my lips here, paying attention to the curve on the bottom that meets that same line, and then paying attention to that curve at the top as well that many of our lips have. And then also paying attention to size, the top lip again being slightly smaller and the bottom lip being slightly bigger. But I've now, instead of just having a line in the middle, I've allowed for a space, a larger shape where I can draw my teeth. Now, some things to keep in mind while you are drawing teeth is to obviously pay attention to the shape and the size, but to also make sure you are drawing very, very lightly. This may be an area where you're making a lot of mistakes, so you want to make sure that you can erase and not have too hard of lines that will leave a mark behind. Now what I'm doing here is adding teeth side by side, but I also want to keep space between teeth, not too much, and I want to make sure it's very light, but I want to keep space between where my gums would be. So for example, even in the very middle, I'd have a very small area where my middle two teeth meet, and I'm making sure I include, it's almost like these small triangles at the bottom of our top lip that we want to make sure to include. That'll make it look very realistic. And when I'm looking at my teeth, another detail is the fact that my front two teeth are the largest, and then each tooth to the left and to the right gets slightly smaller. And I can look in the mirror and see how many I can fit, how many are visible here. Okay, and then behind the teeth, if you're not seeing any on the bottom, if you are, you can draw a hint of those as well, depending on your shape, depending on how much space is left. And then I do some shading, because when I look in the mirror, this is pretty dark. So between the teeth, that's where I can draw with my pencil and press down very hard to apply that pressure. I can also look in the sides of my mouth, extending that dark shade all the way to the outside. I'd also follow the same rules of texture with the lips. So drawing those curved lines that show that our lips are curved and have texture. There may be some areas of darker and lighter where you can leave it the white of the paper, or let's say that I cover all of this up and I smudge it a little bit. I could take my eraser and go back, noticing where the highlights are and erasing, and that also gives me lighter areas if it's difficult to leave it the white of the paper. And I can do the same thing on the top lip, just like we did before.